Welcome everyone. Today we are gonna explain how to make in an easy way 10 liters of cider. Very easy. Alcoholic beverages are always the product of the fermentation of carbohydrates. For example, sucrose, table sugar. This fermentation produces CO2 and ethanol. The ethanol is what is going to give us the alcoholic graduation in the beverage. So we need sugar, apple juice, though you can use other kinds, and yeast. This stuff can be easily purchased in a supermarket. 2 kilos of sugar, and the next thing is to buy apple juice. Please read that there's no conservants or preservatives. Another important element is the yeast. What is the cells, the fungus cells that basically transform the sugars into ethanol and CO2. We'll do that with just ordinary yeast from the supermarket. You can find two different species. One which is more suitable for sugar solutions. The brand is corn yeast, and another one which is more suitable for baking bread and so on. Some sugar, some yeast. About 20 grams is enough. This is wet yeast as opposed to dry yeast. Both will work. Some apple juice. Optionally some other juice like multivitamin. And a place where we'll do the reaction with an airlock. The fermentation of sugar, it produces ethanol and CO2, and that's why we need the airlock to avoid having overpressure inside and possible explosions. In this way, CO2 will come out at the same time that oxygen cannot get in. It's important the ratio sugar to apple juice. I personally like to put 1 kilo of sugar per 4 liters of apple juice. You can go up to 1 to 6, 1 to 7, it depends. If you put more sugar, it will be sweeter, and probably it will have a bit bigger ethanol concentration, alcohol concentration. It's up to you. So the first thing we are going to do is to mix the yeast with some water, so it starts, this is like in a state of, this is in a sleeping state, that's not correct, and we want to activate it. So we have here a bowl with water at 32 degrees, roughly 30. And we're going to put about 20 grams of yeast for a quantity of 10 liters of cider. The weight of that is, I would say, 30% of yeast and the other is water. It's not dry. If you work with dry yeast, you need less than 20. You need about 8 grams. And we're going to put also some sugar. One more thing, which I didn't talk about before, is cereals. Cereals will just help very much the yeast cells to reproduce. So we'll have more and more yeast cells as they reproduce exponentially. Once you do that, you don't need much cereals. I usually do like the same quantity than yeast. 20 to 20 grams, something like that. So now this is starting to reproduce. You can stir it a bit so oxygen is added into the solution. And the next thing is just to mix the sugar and the apple juice. And now the sugar, we add the sugar, carefully not to spill it outside. We make sure that the sugar is totally dissolved with the liquid, with the juice. So, we have had the sugar, we have had the apple juice, and everything is dissolved. If we look carefully, we'll see that the yeast is surrounding the cereals and everything is starting to boil up. There are small bubbles, meaning that the yeast is already working. Just need to add this yeast and water and sugar and cereals mixer into the rest of the batch. And the reaction will happen just because of that. And done. You can just now put the airlock and we'll leave it in a quiet place, in the warmest place of the house. This temperature should be around 25, anything from 20 to 30 will work. Depending on also on the yeast kind and so on, you will have a different optimum point. So now it's done. That means that CO2 is actually coming out after it's been created by the sugar fermentation into ethanol and CO2. This thing should keep on for... CO2 should be coming for the next 5 to 10 days and it will slowly decrease. After the fermentation is over, the alcohol, the cider, will still contain a lot of yeast that will give a bad taste to the beverage. So you can remove it by letting it settle down for 2-3 days in a cold place, and then you will just take the upper part and drink that. There are other methods like centrifugation, but that needs more equipment that we don't have at home. So just take another barrel, the same size that the one you've used it, and move the mixer from one place to the other and leave the bottom behind, so to sedimentate all the yeast. That's easy.
And remember that homemade cider can make the world a better place.